Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit off the beaten path. We're just going to be doing some small stuff. I figure it's Christmas Eve. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, and I think it would just be fun to do some simple stuff. So I've got a list of things that I would like to accomplish here tonight. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them, but we're going to try. So number one, we're just going to enable the option that's built into Laravel Fortified that allows, that forces email verification when a new user registers. This should just basically stop some of the spammers from joining up and signing up for an account. Eventually, I would also like to include the Cloudflare turnstile bot verification thing in the registration and login pages, but I feel like that's a little bit more involved since it means like modifying Fortify and stuff. So that's a bit of a bigger thing, and I don't feel like doing that tonight. So we're not going to do that. The other things that I want to do are on the game selection page of StubSquad. When you click and drag the games around, all of those games are being rendered directly in that single Livewire component, but we actually use that data and that same design style in other pages, so on the completed season and the season results pages as well. So what I want to do is I want to extract the game block from that game selection, make it its own blade component, and then use it in the completed season and season results page. There's just going to be the reason I have this as a whole block, and it might take more than a few minutes, is there are some styles that are being applied, CSS styles that are being applied through on the game selection page based on like if the game is being clicked and dragged, and basically we want to pass those in only on that page, and then those styles won't be applied on the completed season and the season results page. So we're going to have to do some merging of styles there. So it's going to take a little bit longer. Hopefully it won't take too long. And then finally, if we have some time, I also want to do some updating of the kind of the locking in of picks. And so right now, basically anyone can make their picks up until the administrator just kind of decides that the season is complete. What we want to do is maybe use the due date and actually enforce that, because right now that's not being enforced. Like we're tracking it, but we're not really doing anything with it. And then we're also going to build some logic into the system so that if the person has not made their picks, like if their picks are effectively static, like they have not changed from when they're first kind of generated as part of the season invitation, we want to basically send that person an email reminding them that, hey, like your due date is coming up, you should make sure that your picks are in, kind of thing. So I think that's a good thing, a good list of things to start on. If you guys have questions, obviously feel free to drop them in the chat. It's going to be a pretty relaxed stream today. So let's just, I guess, get started. So this email verify on sign up, I believe it's going to be pretty easy, but email sign up verification, register email verification. That's what we're looking for. So I believe it's just like one configuration setting or something. Okay, so we got to prepare our model. I'll zoom this in so it's a little bit easier to see. So before getting started, verify that your user model implements the must verify email contract. So we will do that now. So let's go to user extends, and we want to implement the must verify email. Okay. Once this interface has been added to your model, newly registers will automatically be sent an email containing an email verification link. As you can see by examining your application's event service provider, Laravel already contains a send email verification notification listener that is attached to the registered event. The event listener will send the email verification link to the user. Okay, so we don't need to worry about this because we used a starter kit. So So let's just double check to make sure that we see this email verified at column. Users, email verified at. Okay, so these are all null, right? Obviously. Okay. Routing. To properly implement email verification, 3 routes will need to be defined. First, a route will need to be needed to display notice to the user. Okay. Okay, so the email verification notice. Okay, so as previously mentioned, a route should be defined that will return a view instructing the user to click the email verification link that was emailed to them by Laravel after registration. This will be displayed to users when they try to access other parts of the application without verifying their email address first. Automatically emailed to the users as long as this includes the must verify email interface. Okay, so let's go and add this route. Where do we want to put this? We'll put it at the bottom, I guess. Actually, no, we'll put it near the top. Okay, this is how it works. That's the public stuff, so we're going to put that there. Okay, the route that returns the email verification should be named verification notice. Automatically redirect if user has not verified their email address. Okay, so does this view exist? Let's take a look. Resources, views, auth, verify email. Okay, so okay, so that's there. Email verification handler. Okay, so next we need to define a route that will handle requests generated when the user clicks the email verification link. Okay, so we want to include this route, and we will import this. Okay, you'll notice we're using email verification request type. Okay, so it's a form request. Yes, care validating. Okay, and proceed to fulfill. This method will mark email as verified method. Okay, so and then resending the verification email. So add these here. Okay, so okay, so we also want to say, is there, yes, verified class. Okay, so we're using the auth middleware as well as the verified middleware. Okay. What else do we got? Actually, verified. Okay. Okay, so, I mean, I guess the simplest way to check is, let's just try and register a new user. Okay, yeah, I'm already logged in, and so it sees that I haven't verified my email, so resend verification email. Call to undefined method, requests user. Okay, so let's, how do we want to do this? Is it going to let us log out? Okay, so log out, and then let's try logging back in. Okay, resend verification. Call to undefined methods, support facades request user. Okay, so it's definitely this. Okay, so why is this failing? Which one is it? It is this one. Okay, so you may wish to define a route to allow the user to request that the verification email be resent. You may then make a request to this route by placing a simple form submission within your verification notice view. call to undefined request. Just curious. Okay. So what's interesting is it does see the user. Does see the user on here, but it does not see. Okay, so resend verification email. So what is this not loading? Send your email verification notification. Call to undefined method user on the request. So it's not even getting the request. Okay. So let's take a look at the send verification email. Okay, so this is the button here. So it's sending to the verification send. It is getting the CSRF token, but it is not actually including any kind of user information. So do we need to do that ourselves? I would have assumed it would have mentioned it in the docs here. Customization should satisfy the requirements, blah, blah, blah. To mail using. Okay, so when in doubt, DD. So let's DD the request all. Let's just see what it does, what it's given us here. Call to undefined method request all. Interesting. Okay, we're probably importing the wrong request then. Illuminate HTTP request. Yeah, so okay, so now it's getting the right thing. Okay, so of course. Resend verification email. Okay, so it is sending them. Okay. So if we go verify email address, 404 not found, of course. Okay, so what else are we not doing? So let's delete this. I think there's a trash all, isn't it? Yeah, delete all. Here we go. All right. Okay, so if we resend the verification email, it's just redirecting us there, so that's fine. Redirect. So it's going to email/verify/ blah blah blah. Okay, so if we go art route list, what is it? Email/verify, email/verify ID and hash. ID and hash, yes. Okay, so why is it saying 404 not found? Let's take a look at the logs. Laravel.log. Wow, we should probably clean up these logs here. Call to undefined method. Okay, so that's the last thing we had. Let's go delete, move to trash. Okay, so there's nothing showing up in the log here, so that would suggest oh, because it's trying to go to home. Okay, so we need to update. Yes, okay, so, okay. Route dashboard. Okay, so we're going to clear out the email verified at. I'm just going to set this as null. How do we... Can we save it? No. Okay. So if I refresh this, okay, so it's going to resend verification email. Okay, and we can close that. We'll delete this old one. And now if we verify the email address, boom, there we go. Okay, so what we want to do in the meantime is, let's clear this out again. And we want to have some kind of like notice on the page saying that like the thing has been sent. So let's go like this on the send email verification notification. Let's say toast. There's a toast package that we're using here. Yeah, it's this one. And what do we need to import to send a toast? Because I basically just want to have something pop up here that says like the invite has been sent. Okay. Do we have to import anything on any page? No? Oh, even better. Okay, so we want to say toast success verification link sent. There we go. Okay, so if we go here again, if we go resend verification email, do we get the toast? We do not. Verify email. Yeah, that's not showing up. Okay. So what are we not doing? Bet it is right. Okay, so what we want to do is on that which view is it? It is the auth verify email. Auth verify email blade. That's the guest layout, so just put it there for now to see if this works. Okay, so we should be able to resend a verification email and still nothing. Okay, so what are we not? Is it rendering the actual code for that, or what are we seeing here? Let's take a look. So it's going to be here. Okay, so it is being loaded before then, so I'm not sure why it's not showing up. So this has got to be it here, the toasts stuff. I'm wondering if it's because Livewire maybe not being loaded during this point. So if we go to the app, I can't remember, do we still need to do the Livewire scripts, Livewire. Yep. I don't think we need the modals. Let's do the Livewire scripts. Okay. Still no toast. What are we missing? Shouldn't have to add the anything about the toasts other than just this. And we can add it to the top of the guest's body here, I guess. And then get rid of it in here. Still nothing. Toast success. Are we doing it wrong? No, toast success. Oh, we're not pushing it. That's probably why. There we go. Okay, so we have a toast showing up now. So this all works, so we can delete all of those. Actually, we'll use the last one, so that works now. Okay, so we can delete that, delete all of those. All right, we are golden. So this is done. Let's just do a commit of that. So closes number 28. Okay, so we will push those up. All right, 20 minutes in and we're done one. That's good. We can mark that as complete. All right, next one, extracting blade template. So let's go here. Log out. If I log back in, this should work. Okay. So let's create a new season. Yeah, we'll do rolling. Yep. Okay. So the game stuff that I was talking about here is these blocks here. So each of these is like a very standard piece of information that we use in other places as well. And so I think it would behoove us to make this a component where we can pass in the like the team name, the start time and date, and the logo URL, and then any kind of additional styles. So like, for example, when I hover over this one in this screen, for example, it's it zooms in a little bit, it adds a ring, whereas the other pages obviously don't have that. It just kind of shows up as the list of games. And so we'll have to make this able to send in extra styles for this specific page, but otherwise most of it should be the same across all of the different pages, and it just makes it easier and easier to manage, kind of thing. So we are going to go to our command line and we are going to go art make component game details. Okay, so we have a blade here, and let's go like this: game selection. And actually, before I do this, I wanted to check if we go to admin and we block off one game, for example, whatever. Cool. And then if we go to make my picks, okay, so that one is still bit different, so we'll have to think about that. But for right now, I want to get these ones because these are all going to be the same across the 3 pages. Might have like a default setting and then like maybe like an alternate option or something. And so what we're looking for here is this item here. It's this list item. And so when I'm talking about the filtering, so if we go back to the game picker and we choose, let's turn on a filter, and let's say we only want to see the games where there's like when they're playing Chicago or San Jose, for example. So it highlights these ones and makes the other ones smaller and darker to kind of highlight these ones, whatever. So these are kind of the extra styles that we need to be able to send in to the component as it's being rendered as we're doing things, right? So I'm not sure if this will work. I'm not sure if these work, if they can be dynamic like that with Livewire like this, but we're going to give it a shot. I've never tried to do this before, but yeah, we'll give it a shot. So let's just first just take this whole thing. We're going to copy this for now. Go to game details. Split it right, get rid of that, put that over there. And we're going to make this a div. Well, I guess we can leave it as an li because it's always going to be an li in these situations. And so let's go like this. And for now, we're just going to say x game details. And we're going to take these. And get rid of them in here. So what these are, pardon me. So these two values are, so there's the sortable package that I use, the Livewire package called sortable, which actually is what allows you to physically, pardon me, click and drag the games into their different ordering kind of thing. And then for every individual one, you need a key, kind of like you'd have with like React or Vue or whatever. Everything needs its own key so that when you're reordering them, the package can track which one is which, and that Livewire doesn't get confused as well. So we want to say, what is the information that we need here? So we are going to need game matches one or more filters. Okay. And so these are what I'm thinking is actually, let's just, I'm curious. If we close this and define variable game matches one or more filters. Okay. So we need to actually pass these in. So if we say game matches one or more filters. Define variable game matches one or more filters. So I thought you could just prefix it with the $$ with a blade component, and it would just pass through that value. Let's just take a look. Blade templates. Components, passing data to components. Okay, so like I thought this was like you could kind of have a shorthand where you wouldn't have to do all this. Casing, escape attribute, blah, 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 component methods, slots, dependencies, component attributes. Was I just imagining that? I must have been. Slot attributes, inline view components. I could have sworn it was like a shorthand for that. Short attribute. Oh, right here. Yeah, exactly. X profile. So $, and the value should be passed in is equivalent to doing this, right? So $, game matches one or more filters, which is being created right here. Okay, so then I'm assuming we have to add this as a property on the game details component. So we can get rid of this comment here. and this is going to be a public, no, public bool, yes. Okay, so what else are we missing here? Unresolvable dependency. Resolving required bool, no filters selected. Yeah, we're doing that though. No filters selected. Right? It's right there and it's being passed in. Now, escaping attribute rendering, blah, blah, blah. Methods. Right. So in the constructor, we've got public bool, no filters selected, and it's saying that we're not sending that required bool, no filters selected. Okay, so what if we just do this? That equals define variable pick. Okay, that's interesting that that worked. So let's be consistent then. Don't know why that's not working, but whatever. So that's okay. So then the next thing we need to do is pass in the pick. So that is pick equals $pick. And we need to accept that in here. So public, and this is going to be a ticket season member pick, I believe, if I remember correctly. Trying to read property game on null. Okay, so where is this catching? Ticket season game. Okay, so allegedly we are passing in all the stuff we need. So now it's a matter of finding out why that is blank. So it's saying this value right here is null, and that's obviously not the case. Property game on null. So let's just do this. Let's just go at dd pick. Ooh, that's beautiful. All right, so casts, okay. So why, so it's, that pick must not actually be a pick of that type because it's obviously looking at the wrong data type. So what are we passing into the game selection page? So if we go game selection, so we are member refresh picks. Refresh picks. So we are looking at a member's picks. Yeah, it should be a team ticket season member pick. Okay, so in the game details, game details, this one is just dd pick. Undefined variable pick. This pick. this pick. Okay, so the 4H is making sure that the game is not disabled. Okay. Let's just take a look here. DD picks. Okay, so it's got 41. Okay. Really, there should only be 40, so that's probably where the disabled one is coming from, or the blank one. Let's go like this. Dump pick. So it works like that. Now it works. Okay. So it is not liking the comments. That's fine. So game details. So where are the comments that it's having problems with? Opacity 100. So it's here. So if game Oh, I bet you game selection blade. I bet you this is where the issue is. Yes, it's still doing this stuff. Okay, so let's just get rid of all this stuff. It doesn't really matter anyways. Where's the end of the LI? There. Okay. Okay, so that was what was causing our problems, not our copying and pasting. Okay, so if we click and drag, it is not working. Okay. So we've got the styles copied over, but we're still having an issue with this wire sortable item thing. And so I'm curious. Does this have some kind of ID on it? No, it's not being set. Okay, so that's okay. We can figure this out. So if we actually put this on here, if we actually leave it on the LI here, it is getting the wire item sortable, which is good. Okay. So Winnipeg Jets can be dragged to the beginning. Beautiful. Bruins, Sharks. Just for the record, I don't care about any of these teams. I'm just playing around here. Okay, Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, so that's sorting correctly. So that's awesome, actually. Okay, so what we will do now is... Okay, so how do we want to do this? Because what I'm thinking about is... So okay, so I'm going to kind of explain my thought process here. So right now I'm thinking about if, like, when we copy this code over to, or when we use this component to the other page on the other pages, for example, really this should be the default. So the opacity 100, PY2, H14, rounded XL. This opacity 50 really should only take when this is not and so what are we trying to say? If we're trying to inverse an or, so if either of these are true, either are true. So if not and not that, and we want to do this. Okay, so let's take a look here. So if that, right? Why is that so wide all of a sudden? Is that how it's always been? Yeah, there's something weird going on there. So why is that happening now? Why does it think the screen needs to be that big? Because we're not setting anything here. Make my picks. Okay, I think that was just some weirdness with that page. Because now it's showing the correct size and it's thinking the right stuff. Okay, so they're still changing there. Okay, so now, and so the reason I wanted to do that was because what we're going to do is we're going to default these to false in the game details component here, because we don't want to always have to pass these in those other pages, right? Like when we're calling these when we're calling these this component, we don't always want to call these things for filters when most pages that use it actually aren't going to need filters in the first place. And so instead, actually what I want to do is so public bool. So it's not allowing us to default. I guess the default is going to be false. Okay. So, oh, but that needs it in the constructor, which we aren't wanting to pass. Okay. Well, we'll see if it defaults into false, if it actually lets us default into false. So, okay. So game details is effectively done. We can just copy this right now. And so now the next page that we would see this is if we go to, no, not that page. If we go to admin and complete the season, when they start showing up here, it's the same thing again, right? So on the completed season, we should be able to so it should be this thing here. So I'm just going to comment that all out, and let's just get rid of those. Define variable pick. Okay, so what are we looking at? What's the actual value that we're sending? Game away. Okay, so pick equals game. So maybe we'll go back and rename this to a better word for right now. But okay, yeah, no filters selected. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Game details. What I'm curious about is so we want to accept that as a property, but I really want to just want to try. I realize that this is not the solution. I just want to see if it's just my linter is messing us up here. Okay, so independent. Okay, so it's not that. So we can go PHP and save this again. That nukes those. Okay, so how do we want to do this? How do we want to default them? Because we don't always want to send that. This class constructor. PHP constructor default value. Because I don't think this will work. Pick must be of type team ticket season member pick, and is that not what we are sending? Okay, so completed season. So what are we sending? This is so it's a game, but completed season. Ticket season. Ah, okay. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay. I mean, technically, game details, this could be a ticket season game. Property game on null. Okay, that cannot be that. Okay, so if we go back to Ace, so games, picks, So what do we want to do here? It is a game detail, so really we should be accepting ticket season game. If we want to be accurate about it. Right, and so if we go here, find variable pick, game details. Okay, so game details, how do we want to do this? Because really, if it's a pick, we should want to get the game, right? Like we want to basically do this. Oops. For everything, because that's really what this represents, is the game. And then in the, okay, so let's go back to our property game nickname on null. Game away team nickname. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. How was this game? Okay, so it's a ticket season. What is that? Ticket season game. So it's a ticket season game. Right. Okay, so game details. No, we want game details, because it should be past a ticket season game. And then we need the actual game. So this should now work for this page. Need to read on null. Okay, that's fine. Those don't need to be changed. Property away team on null. Game start date. Yeah, so what is it not picking up here? Game details. Ticket season game. In fact, this shouldn't even be a ticket season game. It should just be a game. If we want to be, again, accurate about what this is actually displaying. Okay, and so this is the game detail, right? And what we need to do is call it with the correct information. So we want to say pick game. So we have type ticket season game. Yep, that's right, because we need to update this to say game. Okay. Right. So it's the hover as well that we're going to need to deal with. Okay, that's okay. So now let's go back to our admin. We're just going to unlock this season. Go back here, refresh, make my picks. Okay, so this is going to fail again. That's okay. What we want to do is we want to say game selection. And we want to say pick. No, we want game to be the pick game. Property game on null. What is not happy here? So this should be the pick. What is not? Okay, so what are we missing here? So the game that's being passed into the game details is this particular pick, which exists. Oh, it's ticket season game. There we go. Okay, so again, it's not big enough. That's okay. We can fix that. That's the game details. So it is not hitting this. So it's not accepting that prop correctly, and it's triggering, and it's hitting. Oops, it's hitting here. So let's go like this. Can we? Can we accept it as an optional PHP optional constructor parameters? promotion. This is what we're doing here. Constructors optional, blah, 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 from XML. Okay, so what kinds of data can we pass in here? I'm just thinking about sending like options. Methods. Generate inline view component, blah, blah, blah. Laravel blade template option. That is not what I want. Laravel blade template option. Optional parameter. Blade component optional parameter. Assign a default value in the constructor. Yeah, I was trying to do that, but it did not like it. Okay, let's try doing public. I mean, this is kind of what I was expecting, but what I don't understand is did I not do this the first time? Okay, I'm not sure what I did the first time to make it clear those out, but this is what I want. Okay, so if that's false, but we should be allowed to pass that in. Okay, so let's go take a look at the if game matches one of our filters, right? So game selection. So no filters selected. Okay, so now that should work. And admin, put the season. Okay, they're still showing up much too quickly. They should be showing up one at a time. So let's go figure out why that is. Completed season. Okay, so let's take a look. There's probably some JavaScript. No, nothing weird happening there. Okay, and so what I think I'm going to do, while I'm, well, no. Okay, so why did it, so yeah, so what's happening is it's supposed to be a part of this, like each of these list items, because these are LIs. Okay. So I wonder if, so I'm just trying to thinking here. So like if we say as div, again, this is just talking out loud here. So we'll default it to be an LI, but it could be a div if it's passed in like that, because it's inside an LI. So what's happening is it's like it's stacking LIs. So that is, I like that syntax. So let's go to the game details and say public string as equals li. And then in the game details, I'm going to say as. $sign as. Let's close that. Div, and so it's being rendered still as an li. Why is that? Details. Do I need to clear my view cache? Art view clear. There we go. Cool. So now we can define what type of element that is. So on here it's a div, but if we go to the, we're gonna have to uncomplete the season. That's fine. Unlock the season. Make my picks. If we look at them, these are going to be LIs. Hey guys, sorry about that. Was having some video issue or power issues, sorry. Just give me 1 second here because I'm having issues with Twitch. Sorry, just give me 1 sec. I'm just going to go to the camera for a second here because I need to get my Twitch password. One of these days. Hey, Damien. Yeah, sorry about that. Was having some troubles here. So I see in the chat. So I can give you a quick rundown if you're still here on what I'm working on and what I'm fixing. So the site that I'm working on right now is called StubSquad. It's a site where you can where groups of people with season tickets can get together and draft the games that they want to see based on how badly they want to go to it. So, for example, if I have season tickets for the Calgary Flames with someone else, we would each rank the games based on how badly each of us want to go to those games, and then the system figures out based on those rankings who gets to go to which game based on those rankings. And so what we're working on right now is just kind of extracting some of the display. I guess you could call it logic, not really logic, but these kind of the game details. We're extracting those into components so they can be reusable on other pages, because right now they've been kind of copied and pasted into other display pages kind of thing. And so we want to make it so that we don't have to keep copying and pasting the code. We can just use this component when we need to. And so that's what we're trying to do here. In the meantime, let's see here. Go back into code. Okay, so let's take a look. And so, sorry, and what I was doing before is, just before my power cut off there, was typically we want to have these as like an LI kind of thing. But because some pages are expecting an LI and some are expecting the div, what we're saying is when we're saying as, if we look at the game details component, we're saying, okay, you're allowed to choose what kind of element you want it to be if you want it to be something other than LI. So we're just saying the default is going to be an LI element, because in most cases I would assume that this is going to be some kind of list item. But if your page has a specific need for something else, say a div or a span or whatever, right? You can configure that by just passing in the as property. And if we go to the completed season, we're saying, okay, so normally it's an LI, right? But we're saying I want it as a div. So it's going to fill in that field or that element as a div type rather than as an LI. So we can remove that. And so finally, the last thing on our list for this one is going to be season. Oops, don't want to delete that. It's going to be season results. And this is basically the same kind of page with just a few other things on it. So we can say li, this is the element that we want to get rid of. And again, so we're not going to need a div because we don't need it as one. It needs to be an li. Oh my goodness. Okay. And we want it to be the pick game. And so you can get rid of this. And this page should also work. So if we go to the administration of this page or this season. Yeah, and sorry I missed your text. I got so focused on that I wasn't paying attention to chat. But yeah, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll pay more attention to chat here. And so here we go. So here are the games each person is going to get. In this case, it's just me on the season. So the next thing we want to do is we want to get rid of these hover states, and we don't want the hover state to be the default. So what I'm thinking is we have another. What am I trying to say? Another property. So we'll say public bool hover states equals false. So we don't want the hover states by default, because on both the completed season and the season results, they don't need it. Those are just for the game selection. So what I'm thinking is if we go into the game details, And so now if we say, so where are hover, I think that's going to be it. Okay, so let's go like, let's put this here. So we're going to say if hover states, and if we're just going to include the hover states only in the event that someone actually wants it and calls for them, because otherwise we don't care. So now hover is still happening. Okay, why is that? Is there hover? Oh, a bunch more hover stuff. Okay, now if we refresh, okay, good. No hover state. That's cool. Game matches one of our filters and no filter selected. Oh, okay. So what I don't like is, oh, it's not working. Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Let's take a look and find out why it's not sharing properly. I'm just going to go black for a second here. Hopefully that will reset it. I hope that works. So I'll be right back. Just 1 second here. No, still not liking it. Turn that off. Do we have the right one? No, it's still not. Well, that's not great. Share desktop. Okay. Okay, now, Damien, if you could just give me a heads up if this is showing my screen now. I think it is. Okay, game matches one of our filters and no filters selected. Actually, I think what we want to do. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to go back to game details. I think by default, we want no filters selected to be true. Right. Okay, so that's the correct one for these. Okay, so there's no click and okay, that's good there. If we go back to our admin page, we're just going to unlock the season and make my picks. Now the hover states are not working. That's okay because we have not called it. So if we say game selection and we want to say hover states equals true. So now if we refresh this, we get the hover states here. But if we complete the season, the hover states are not there. Beautiful. Okay. So the skip forward thing, that's not great because it's that's not working. So while we're here, I guess we can figure that out. So let's go take a look at completed season. No, completed season. And this is just a JavaScript thing, so it's probably just the count. I'm doing the count wrong somewhere. So we'll start. Okay, so button click equals current place. Equals. So if we go current place equals 0, so Yes, it puts them all there. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so that's good. So that's also fixed. Pardon me. And then also in the season results, those all look correct. Okay, awesome. So now let's just take a look at what we had in Notion here. So we extracted the game block from the game selection. Yep, we've replaced it in the game selection, the completed season, and the season results. So that's done. So let's go like this. Oh my goodness. Going to here, and so let's say extracting game details blade template. Just going to do those two for a second. Okay, and then we are also going to say using game details component in these three, commit, and we'll sync those up. All right, 2 down, 1 to go. And in 40 minutes, we're almost certainly not going to get all this done, but we'll see how far we can get here. Logging in changes. Okay, so add due date to season creation. So right now, when a season is created, ticket season, a due date or deadline is set. Although that's definitely not the correct. Right. Okay. So, sorry. Right now, the due date or the deadline, is just set as the first day of the regular season. What we want to do is we want to give the season creator the ability to set this themselves. So in the season creation flow, so if we go share your tickets, in this flow, there should be an option to say, I want the deadline for people to have their picks in is going to, let's say, be a week from now or something. And so let's see what we can do to add that. So let's go create season. And so how do we want to do this? Pick your team, choose a draft order, invite the squad. I think it should land between choosing the draft order and inviting. Actually, should it be? Well, we'll put it as the third step between draft order and inviting. Because in theory, what we could do is we could include that date that they've chosen in the invitation email that goes to the squad. And so I guess technically it makes the most sense to have that here. So let's just work under that assumption. We can always change it later. And so page statuses. So we've got team selection, draft order, invite friends. So we're also going to say deadline. Set deadline. Sure. Description. I'm going to say set deadline. Current is false. No, I can't remember. Okay, so it does create that for us. Okay, that's good. Create season show set deadline does not exist. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So we want to say and this is getting a little too crazy. So I think what I want to do actually, before we even do this, I want to refactor this code because right now it's just a mess of selecting which page is visible, and it's ugly and it's definitely not scalable. So what I want to do is say, so pick pattern selection visible. Set visible, show team. Yeah, so right here, like this is not scalable. So it's like a combinatoric problem where as we add another page, we we have to have another function, and we have to add that setting here as well. And so that's not great. And so what I want to do is instead, so I was just doing something about this the other day in another page. And so if we go to the site admin here, what did we do? So set visible panel, and then it's just an if on the page, which is a whole lot better. Yeah. Okay, so let's go into our create season blade. Sorry about that. So if invite friends visible, so yeah, this is awful. Okay, so first thing I want to do, I actually want to extract these to some components because this page is way too long. So let's go, we'll go from bottom to top, I guess. So, actually, you know what? Let's go top to bottom. So if this team selection is visible, if selected team, okay, so it's this whole thing. So let's make but there's functionality on here too. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Okay, so for now, I guess we'll leave it like that. But what we'll do is we'll say current page status. So this should match up here with the page status. And so if we're already doing that, we should just be able to use that as an if statement. So let's get rid of all of these. We're going to say this current page status equals key. Exactly. Then we can get rid of this. And now what we can do is we can say if current page status equals team selection, let's split this right so we can actually see what we're doing here. If current page status equals that. Yeah, Damien, I 100% agree. I find the easiest way for me to learn is by having someone else or by watching someone else kind of understand how their mindset works. And that's exactly why I have this channel, is because I felt like there was a lack of really like explaining the why, right? Like a lot of people, a lot of coders online, they'll talk about what they're doing, but they won't explain the context around what they're doing and why it's important, I guess, right? It's like, it makes it really frustrating when you're trying to learn. It's good for people who already know the language, right? Like they just kind of watch and say, yep, I do that, and yep, I do that, or no, I would do this differently, but I understand why they're doing it. Whereas I want to teach, right? Like I want people to understand when they watch this, like this is why I'm making this decision and why I'm constantly kind of like explaining my thought process, because otherwise it's just like I'm talking to no one, or to someone who I assume is like an expert, and I don't want that, right? Like I don't, or not that I don't want that. I would love if experts watch this channel, but what I want is I want people to watch this channel and to learn something and understand why I'm thinking. And I want people to tell me, hey, this is dumb. You're doing it the wrong way. I would do it this way instead if you know a better way. But like, I want to share how my brain works, at least. Okay, so pick your team. I just want to make sure this still works. So let's go Winnipeg, whatever. Big Jets, create season. Okay, unable to call component method. Okay, so we got to go change the buttons. So we need to just say set visible. Where click, we just want to say set visible. Thanks. And honestly, like I really appreciate the feedback, because like I'm by no means an expert here. Like I'm still fairly new to Twitch. I'm fairly new to YouTube, and so if you have suggestions or anything, I'm definitely open to that. So just don't hesitate to say anything too. Okay, so button, where is the where click? So we want to say set visible. Was it team selection? No, actually we're going to go right to the set deadline here. And that's not going to exist, but that's okay. We don't need any of this current stuff. Don't even care if it's current or not, right? Yeah, nowhere on here are we looking at current, get current status. Okay, we don't even care about this. Right, it doesn't exist anymore, so that's okay. So that can go away. Love getting rid of code. Okay, and so now let's get rid of this. So yeah, so the nice thing about what we've done and simplified is that if we want to add more sections, we just have to add another line here and just add another if statement. Again, eventually I would like to extract this stuff out into their own components, because this is a huge blade component and that's ugly as hell, but it's at least functional for now. But yeah, so the nice thing is we can just, it's a lot easier. We don't have to do those combinatoric things where we're adding a bunch of new checks and stuff. So, okay, let's take a look here. So add a squad member. So where is the, okay, so, oops, don't want that. Okay, so we're going to say set deadline. And we're just going to say, I'll just go text white just to make sure this is working, and then we can start actually doing stuff. Hello. Undefined array key current. Where are we actually looking? Oh, status current border purple. Okay, so we do need that current stuff in here. Okay, so set visible, set current page, and this page, yes. Okay, so this page status key current equals true. Yeah. Okay, so let's try this again. So Winnipeg, create season. That's fine. I will call component method public show invite friends. So where's that? Create season. What was the error? Show invite friends. Show. Okay, so we want to say set visible, set deadline. Okay, Winnipeg Jets, create season, blah, 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 invite the squad. That's going to have to change. Okay, so pick your team. Obviously, that's not going to work. Why? This should be set a deadline. Winnipeg, create season, set a deadline, yes. Okay, so why is pick your team showing up there? Invite the squad. Oh, this is going to have to be invite friends. Okay. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, Winnipeg, great season. Yes, set a deadline, invite the squad, pick your team. Yeah. Okay, so in the heading, I believe, is where it's, yeah, get current status description, right. Okay, so we want to say this. Actually, we can just copy this. This page status is key description. Okay, that's not what we want. This page status is this page status, and it is current page status. Okay, so pick your team. Okay, so again, Winnipeg Jets. Choose a draft order. That's correct. Set a deadline. That's correct. Invite the squad. That's correct. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're also going to have to update those back buttons. That's okay. So we are going to say set visible, set pick order. Yep. But that's actually not where that one is supposed to go, because we want that to be, oh man, create season. So we want this to be set deadline, change deadline, Winnipeg, create season. Okay, so change team is going to have to be, so that's going to have to be team selection. Winnipeg. And actually, before we do any more, I want to get that box on top here because that's driving me crazy. Okay, so where is the the team list? Show leagues and teams. Yeah, so search. We want to say class Z100. Why is that not? Oh, because that's not the results. That is should be Z20. Is that not enough? Z50? Still not enough. Whatever. Deal with that later. Set a deadline. Okay, so in this box, what do we want to say? Do we want a date picker? So for reference, if we go to the admin, deadline does have a date picker, so technically we can just use this. I think for right now, that's probably going to be our best option. So in fact, I think what we will do is we will go to the admin season blade, and we're just going to copy this. Where is hello? Okay. Now, this text is going to have to change a little bit. I don't like the size of it. So let's go text LG. That should be okay. Wire change. Update deadline. Okay, and so we will yes, we will go to the admin season panel here. So we need to copy that to the create season. And we also need the, what was the file called? Or the, so we need the update deadline function from here. Update deadline. Okay, so now if we put this down here, don't care about authorization because it doesn't matter. Carbon, we will import. Okay. Update deadline. Okay, so we don't even need that stuff. We just need to say to keep that. And if all goes well, we should be able to say Winnipeg, Jets, create season, fine, set a deadline of 29th. Let's go. Okay, and so the last thing we need to do is when we're actually creating the season, we want to set that deadline. So, where is the create? Select team, add friend, remove friend, create season. And so we need to say deadline equals this deadline formatted. Okay, so if we refresh this and we go Winnipeg, okay, set a deadline. I'm just going to create 1/28th, whatever. Let's go. If we go to the ticket seasons, the deadline should be, didn't save it. Okay, so that's probably, so when I was adding the deadline stuff, it's probably just forcing the deadline. Yeah, so exactly. So what we want to say is if ticket season deadline equals null, then we want to do this. Okay, so start typing. We want to say Winnipeg, create season, set a deadline of the 28th. We'll also have to make sure that that's being chosen in the future, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. And there we go. So now it's there. Okay, so we'll do some cleanup now. So create season. How do we want to do this? Right, so we want to add this as a rule. It must be required. Deadline must be selected. Yes. So if we try and create one, it will not work. And so we'll also have to add that error to the bottom of the create season component. Deadline formatted. Okay, so basically what that means is if we go like Winnipeg Jets and set a deadline, if we just skip adding a deadline and we try to go let's go, this should, a deadline must be selected. So you have to choose a deadline. So let's invite the squad, change deadline. Why is that? Oh. Change team, does that work? Okay, yes. Set a deadline. Choose draft order. Set a deadline. Yes. Okay, so that's gonna fail. Now, will this let us choose? Okay, so we want to make. I know Pick a Day has an option where it won't let you choose a date in the past. I believe Pick a Day. So set default date, first day, min date. Yeah, so we want the min date to be today, basically. So where's our deadline? Okay. Field. Min date is going to be new date. I think we should just be able to do this. Actually, we want to do this on all of them, so I believe we should be able to do this in the template that this is calling. So if we go to the app layout, not that one, layout app. Nope. Layout app laid. That's the one. Okay, so pick a day is being set down here. So if we say min date equals new date. Now, if we go back here, it should not let us. And then we'll also do some back-end validation as well, but I don't even want it to be an option. Oh. Okay, it's not taking that yet. Okay, so new peak a day. What am I missing? Yeah, it's got to be the min date thing. Okay, so why is it not taking that configuration item? New peak a day. This field. Okay, date picker format. Yes, min date is new date. Yeah, like that should work. Set a deadline. Set a deadline. Why is this? Okay, so it'll at least let me pick in the future, but it also lets me pick in the past, which is obviously not an okay thing. For right now, what we can do is we can say rule required. I'll have to go Laravel validation. There's a bunch of validation rules, so we can say like it has to be in the past as well. There's like some date formatting stuff here. Where are they? After, okay, so field under validation must be a value after a given date. Pardon me. So we can say date after tomorrow. A deadline must be a date. And then after tomorrow is deadline must be at least after tomorrow. Must be set at least 2 days in the future. I like that. Okay, so if we go back here, okay, so let's say we just pick this date. If we go invite the squad and let's go, right? So it still knows it's still not going to accept it unless the date is actually in the future. So if we try tomorrow, that should also fail. Yeah. And then if we go 2 days in the future, 27th. There we go. Cool. So that's awesome. Just thinking, is there anything we can do about that? Date picker, create season, blade. So exonet, I still think min date, new date. Let's try this one more time. Oh, perfect. Okay, so if we actually new date, I wonder if there, and it's been a long time since I've done JavaScript stuff, JavaScript date. Can we do an add 2 days kind of thing? Date. Set date. JavaScript date add days, add 2 days. So var date equals new date, this value of. Okay, so let's add this to the template then. Okay, so add days, we give it a date and the number of days. And that, so we should say, just take a look here. Add days. How are they calling it? Format date. Okay, so we don't care about that. We just want add days, new date, whatever. Okay, so add days, new date, and 2. Okay. So if we did this correctly, and we probably did not, but we will try, it should be blocking out all of the days until 2 days in the future. 2 days in the future. Will this let us on the 26th? No. Okay, so what if we do 3? I hate dealing with dates because it's all like no library understands it the same and they all treat them kind of differently. So now if we say 27th, invite the squad, let's go. Golden. Okay. I want to say create season. I want to make this correct. So after today, let's see if this will let us make it out on the 26th, because technically that's what we want, is the 26th. So let's go Minnesota. Create season, set a deadline, 26th, invite the squad, let's go. Golden. Okay, I think, and with 10 minutes to spare, we've got the season creation done. That's done. So the next thing we'll have to do next week is this updating the wording on the, actually, I'm not sure if we're going to do this. Let's see. Send a reminder email a week before due date if picks have not been made. So, you know what? I'm not hungry enough to leave yet. So let's do this. So let's say, so send a reminder email a week before due date if picks have not been made. So this should be fairly straightforward. What we need to do is create a mail. We need to create a command that's going to do that. And let's see how far we can go. So art make test. And so this is send or remind user due date imminent test. So let's close out of here and say remind user due date imminent test. Okay, so we want to say it will notify a user when their season's due date is in 7 days. And so I'm going to just write the outlines of the test before we actually start writing the test. I've found this is kind of a better way to do it, just so that if I don't get to everything, I don't forget where my head was at. So we also want to say it will not notify a user when their season's due date is within 7 days, but they are newly registered. And so what I'm thinking about here is, let's say you create a season and then you invite your friend, but you've already set the due date to only be in the next, let's say 5 days. I don't want it to also send a reminder that, oh, do we want to send it? Yeah, I think that would be a separate email, I'm thinking. And so let's go. Let's say, do we have a new user test? Send upcoming season reminders test. We're not doing that really right now. Actually, that's not even for what we're talking about. So remind user due date imminent test. Oh, okay. So Damien's asking, okay, so why don't you let them not be able to go to the invite friends section if they didn't pick a deadline instead of showing it in the last section? So that's a totally fine way of doing it. It just means you have to track more state as far as like, have they actually filled in the friends section, or have they actually filled in a deadline and then make the button not disabled? I don't need that level of control right now. I mean, if I was to rebuild this front end in something like React, then definitely I would totally do that. But because of how Livewire needs to track state and has to track it on the server and not on the front end, like actually on the front end, it means a lot of back and forth traffic that's just kind of unnecessary. I mean, I'm fine with the fact that we're just validating that if you have got to that point, like you have to enter some kind of deadline. And if you get to the last page, I mean, it's the second last thing. If you haven't done it, you just go back and you change it. So that's kind of my thinking. So we want to, let's say, new user registration test. And so we're just going to create an empty test for now, and it includes a note if the season, an extra note if the season ends within 7 days. And so we'll just, I think there's like with pest, I think there's like a to-do or something like that, like a to-do test. Creating to-dos. Yes. Okay. So we can just say, for now, this is just going to be a to-do. So it's not actually going to run this test. It'll just let us know that there are still tests to create, but we're going to work on that some other time. So right now we're just going to worry about this remind user due date imminent test. So first thing we want to do is before each, because when we're running these tests, we don't want to ever run any actual emails. So we're going to fake out, oh my goodness, going to fake out the mail facade whenever we're running any of these. Before each, is this not right? For each function, oh my God. For each, there we go. Okay. So yeah, so we want to fake that out. So here's what I'm thinking. I want to go, so this acting as user equals user factory create, don't need the 0. Okay, so we're acting as that. So we have to have a let's say a ticket season equals ticket season factory create. Okay. And so now, and the one thing we want to set here is the deadline. And so what do we need to do? We need to do carbon set test now. So how do we want to do this? Carbon set test now 8 days. We want to create the deadline is now add days 7. And then we want to this artisan, what do we want to call it? StubSquad notify due date users. Perfect. Due date users. Okay, so we want to go mail assert queued, and we're going to call it, let's say, sure, all of that. I don't even think we need to. For right now, we're not even going to check the contents. We're just going to assert that there was an email that was queued. Okay, so if we say, okay, so we've set it up there. We've done the artisan. Okay, so StubSquad notify due date users does not exist. Okay, so let's make that command. Notify due date users. Yeah, so art make command notify due date users. I think that should make, oh, no, it doesn't. Okay, so we're going to take this signature here. We're going to say notify due date users. StubSquad is all we need to change. Okay, so notify users of upcoming season due dates. Yes, season due date. Okay, so we can assert mailable is not queued. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is actually get that mail created. So art make, do I not have a mailable in my, okay, so generating mailables, make mail. What did we call it? User due date notification. User due date notification. And this is going to be a markdown one. Okay, and so now if we go this, we want to say mail queue. Actually, we're going to send this, and we're going to say emails, user due date notification. I don't think that's actually going to work, but that's okay. User due date notification. And we want to implement should queue. Whoops. Should queue. Okay, so in theory, this is not correct. What's the correct syntax for this? If we go, where is the send? Send. So mail. Okay, so mail to and then send. For right now, we're just going to send it to me. It's fine. User due date notification class. Why is it griping now? Expected type mailable, found class string. Oh. Okay. Why is this complaining now? Expected one argument. And we're going to send it a season. That's okay. We don't have it yet, but that's okay because we're going to get them. So we're going to say seasons equals ticket season where deadline is less than now 7 days get. Yep. Now 7 days at get. How do we, okay, because this is going to find all of the things. And so what we really want is greater than now add days 6. Okay. So that's going to take anything that's less than 7, but or more than 6, but less than 7 days. Less than or equal to Okay, so then we're going to say for each seasons as season. Okay. Expected mailable was not queued. Okay, so let's take a look then at the command and let's see if we're even triggering in this loop here. DD seasons. Let's see if we're even getting any seasons that match that condition. So if we say this, okay, so we're getting one, okay. Is complete, so deadline is yes, okay. Create deadline now, add days, sub minutes, let's say 10, so that it actually catches. Okay, so now, okay, so we're getting a season that falls in that in that range, which is good. The next thing we need to do is figure out why this is not sending. So if we go to the user due date notification, what is it accepting? Oh, it's accepting the email address. So we actually want to, do we have to accept the email address? I don't think so. I think if you have the two, it will just do that. Let's take a look. Configuring the sender, don't care about that. Configuring the view, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. So if we say ticket season. Okay, so your season, get your picks in for the deadline. Game, complete your game draft before the deadline. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Don't care about the block route. I guess we do need to take in the ticket season or the email address. That's fine. Public string email address. Okay, and then we need to go to here and we need to say, for right now, again, we're just sending it to me. Just comment this out. Okay, the expected mailable was not queued. Okay, so why was it not queued? Because we're not looking at the right thing. So user due date notification class. Cool. So it was sent. Assert queued, and we want to change this so that this is actually the season administrator. No. Email. No, that's not what we want. We want to say, okay, so actually this is awesome. Okay, so so the logic is actually going to get a little more deep. So what we actually need to know is the ticket seasons have a deadline, but we aren't going to be sending to every member of the ticket season. We just need to know if they've made picks. So what we need to say is, okay, so for each season as season. So these are the ones that are within the last 7 days. Okay, so then what we really need to do is say, okay, so for each season, members as member, yep. If member updated at equals null, then we want to send this to that person, not to the administrator. So we're going to say to the member user email. Okay, so what this should be doing is if they have not made any changes, and this updated gets, oh, does it get updated? Let's go take a look. So let's just say StubSquad, let's go make my picks. If I change that, action is unauthorized. Why is it unauthorized? Log out. Let's go back in here, make my picks. Jets, why is it unauthorized? Am I not a member? Make my picks on this one. This action is unauthorized. Why is that happening all of a sudden? Okay, let's go take a look at game selection. I'm betting it's because so if I get rid of that check, change pick order, it's not that. Fresh picks, clear filters, toggle show filters, submit picks. Where is it being authorized that we haven't done that? Log out and log back in. Oops. Log in, make my picks. What is it trying to do here? Game selection, yes. Well, I think this might have to wait because I am not sure why that's happening. I can't see where else there would be an authorization happening. Let's just go take a look at the route quickly. Game select, yeah, that should be fine. I am verified. Pardon me. Ticket season policy. Ticket season members where? Yeah. So I should be a member. Well, I think I'm going to call it here tonight and worry about food here because it's 9:14 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and I think there's going to be very limited options for food. I will keep hacking on this. I can't imagine that it's going to be something crazy because we weren't messing with any of the policy stuff. I assume it has to do with this. So if I like just return true here, I'm guessing this is going to work. So it's not even... Yeah, I'm not sure why it's like where the authorization is failing. Well, you know what? One last check here. Go to Arc. Let's take a look at the console. Actually, on the network. Let's see where it's trying to post to. Yeah, it's just going to the generic Livewire update endpoint. And so I'm not sure where it would be failing. Post forbidden. Okay, so that's just that one error code box contains unescaped HTML. Okay, so that's just the PHP debug bar. Okay, still, I think I'm gonna call it quits here. Yeah, man, Damien, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. It's been awesome. Really appreciate it if you could subscribe. I stream every Sunday. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. I'll be back on New Year's Eve next week and probably be hacking on this more. But no, I really appreciate it. To everyone else watching on YouTube, yeah, if you could like and subscribe, I appreciate that too. Again, I'm JT, and this has been Coding Out Loud.